Oh, to see what the increase was for 8-inch pipe. You can ask Heather. Do any of you have a copy of the original estimate with the smaller pipe, just out of curiosity?
From Green.
It's the same price.
Yeah, I asked Mike that
Oh, it
earlier
was.
today.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's just when he transferred it over, the information onto our sheet, he said that they just didn't change it from 4-inch to 8-inch, but the cost should be the same. They quoted it as 8-inch, but didn't change the verbiage
Didn't
to
change it,
indicate
okay.
it as 4-inch.
Patrick just texted on my way to be there in 5, so it shouldn't get terrible.
Yeah, I'm just gonna wait for him, if everybody's okay with that.
It's only 2.5 minutes over.
Yeah.
So how are you feeling after the soccer or the football?
I'm good.
Really?
Did I tell you I hurt myself or no?
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, no, I needed beer. I was playing first, and somebody kicked it up in the air. This is like the 4th or 5th inning of the first game. And I went to take off, and as soon as I took that first, I planted, I heard bop. I caught the ball. I made the out. But then I can't walk. The back of my leg's all black and blue. I got a knee thing on it right now. It makes it feel a little bit better, but
So it's down in here?
it's like the top. It's like right here. And a woman I worked with this morning, I went in there, I was telling her the story, and she said, you know, I tore my Achilles. And it was up here.
And your clinic goes up there a ways.
And I thought, oh, great. So I've been gimping around all weekend. Honestly, it's feeling a little bit better tonight. I'm gonna go jump in the pool. It feels really good when I stay in the pool and I keep it moving. But today I was driving around looking at stuff, and I'd be driving for an hour, and I'd get out of my car and I'd be like, oh, shit, I can't even walk. It just tightens right up. And
You know, I see a lot of success and things like that. I mean, if it's not detached and just like knotted up, which is usually what happens. I mean, have your like a rolling pin.
and roll it.
Just roll.
Well, some friends of ours have this weird, like, humongous massager thing.
Yeah.
And I've been using that. Hurts like
But afterwards, it's a different kind of hurt, isn't it?
yeah.
Afterwards, it feels better.
Yeah. And it was actually when I did it, it felt like a cramp. And,
Okay, okay.
The chiropractor Reddington was there. He was on the other team.
Oh, okay.
So he came running over and he's like, well, lay down. And he was feeling it. He's like, I don't feel like a ball, like it broke and
Yeah, because it'll retract.
So he was stretching it and stuff. And he said, I don't think you tore anything. So yeah, I've been gimping around. Damn it, my wife was. She's like, I told you to stretch. I said, it's 90 degrees. I don't need to stretch. Yeah, right. There was 3 teams. We beat them both. There's only 3 teams. It was terrible. It was hotter than all get out.
It was late today.
Oh, no.
Yeah.
All right, I'm gonna call this meeting to order. Special meeting, City Commission, Monday, August 30th, 2021 at 5:30. Can we have a roll call, please?
Dennison,
Here.
Downey,
Here.
Money is absent. Swem,
Here?
Whedon,
Here.
you have quorum.
Thank you. Is there anybody wishing to make a public comment?
Want me to stand up in the front?
No, that's okay, go ahead.
Dan Bianski, 103 North Detroit. I really want to know, I mean, you guys are busy, you know, but my point being is the minutes weren't posted, so I don't know, you know, nobody in the public knew about this meeting except for the ones that got email unless they took down here. Plus, what did we do at the regular meeting about this, you know, so that everybody has to show up again? I mean, this is the whole point, you know, I wasn't at the last regular meeting, so you had to schedule this meeting. But there was no minutes from the last meeting so that I could watch or read to see why you had to schedule this meeting and why it wasn't done at the last commission meeting,
I'll explain it to
you know?
you. I can tell you why we're having this special meeting if that's okay. And we had some serious price differences in the 2 quotes that we got. And neither company was available to answer our questions. And we didn't feel it was wise to make a decision with bad information.
appreciate the answer, you know, it's a double-edged sword. The minutes aren't getting posted like they should be. And I know we've got, I'm not pointing my finger, I know the computer, everybody's busy, everybody's chasing their tails, short-handed. But the point being is, there are laws that regulate that 48 hours after the meeting, it's supposed to be posted.
Anybody else wishing to make a comment? Can you hear us okay, Mac? Okay. All right, let's move on to the repairs. Who wants to start? Or I guess, do you guys have any questions right off the bat for anyone? After looking at the new estimates?
And maybe you could just catch me up from the last meeting since I couldn't attend on the major differences.
Well, so at the last meeting, we had estimates from Selge and from Green, and there was some big differences. Number one, there was some misinformation about the size of the pipe that was being used. Green said they did price the right size, but their quote said something different, so we were kind of unsure. And then there were some price differences in the manhole portion of the estimates. And Nina was here to answer questions that we had, and we couldn't understand the difference, thinking that it wasn't apples to apples, it didn't seem. So we asked them to redo their estimates, and luckily we have a representative from each tonight, so if we have questions, we can ask them. Does anybody have any specific questions? No? Nothing? Do you have anything you want to say, Mike?
Whatever's best, I'm good. I did the research.
Have both of you been out to look at the site, or
I have.
you have been?
Yeah, right here.
What are your thoughts about the manholes?
Can you come use the microphone so,
Sorry. So we can get you recorded and we can hold it against you forever?
sorry. Just turn it on, yep.
So what I think about the manholes is, I think they're difficult. There's a lot of bypassing involved, and we put a number to these manholes that we thought was a realistic number of how much time we were going to have involved in actually changing the manholes out. I mean, the manhole up there, the sanitary manhole up at Short Street and Third Street, you know, there's a lot of sewage coming in from the south and sewage coming in from the west and from the north, and, you know, all that's going to have to get bypassed. And we just, you know, we think it's going to be a several-day process on all the manholes. So that's probably why my number is a lot larger than the other quote.
Because your manhole number has a lot of labor included in it.
A lot of labor and a lot of bypassing,
Okay.
which, you know, there's labor in doing the bypassing as well.
Right. What would your schedule be? When would you be able to start the project if we were to award it to you?
I don't know exactly what our schedule is right now. We kind of, we thought that this might happen, that we could get the project, so I know it's in our sights.
Right.
So I'd have to get back with you on that to give you an exact date, but, I mean, I think within 2 or 3 weeks, I think we could start the project. The only thing that I'm not sure is some of this pipe that we're talking about, with COVID and the way that's been, there's some of the stuff that I'm not exactly sure the availability of the pipe. That would be my only major concern.
Okay. Anybody else have any questions for him?
And the manhole one sticks out to me, and I'm guessing you guys talked about this last week between Mac's quote and Selge's quote, so maybe Mac can explain why are you so much different?
Thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah, can you hear me okay?
Yep.
Okay. Yeah, I talked with Mike a little bit about it. You know, especially, I guess, without having a written description of what the purpose of the manholes were, I was kind of left to my own interpretation and coming up with the approach to the project. And when I saw a doghouse manhole for the sanitary manhole, what I took it as was to keep that project in that distance. You know, I figured the whole point of it was to replace everything on Third Street between Short and Redbud, and so that it didn't have to be touched again in 2023 when they come through. So my interpretation of the doghouse manhole was coming in, you know, we would use the existing manhole upstream to put a balloon in, block, and bypass out of, and then we would set a manhole at Short Street. And the way that doghouse manhole works is that it looks like a doghouse, and then you slide the bottom of it in to set the doghouse on top, and you would just cut the existing pipe, have it stop there, and then start running the new pipe out of the manhole. And then where you get to the end near Redbud, you do the same thing, set the bottom of the manhole underneath it, cut the pipe, and then run the new pipe into that manhole. So that's what I priced it for. I didn't price to go out into Redbud and replace the manhole that's in Redbud, because that would reflect more of what Selge had as far as pricing goes for just the sheer number of pipes that are in there. If you open it up, I don't know if you've had a chance to look into it, kind of gotta go out into the middle of traffic, but there's water boiling up from the bottom of it, enough that they dip tested it to see if it was chlorinated. So that would certainly be cause for a higher number when it comes to replacing that manhole. So that wasn't what I was pricing in that estimate.
Good. Mike, do you have any questions after hearing that?
No, like I said, I called them and did my research before the meeting, so I got the same answers you guys got. So I'm comfortable with a decision. We need to get moving.
So while we mull this over, can you explain briefly how and where we're going to get the funds to pay for this?
Yes. So before you, we have our fund balances for the various accounts that we'll be spending out of. Basically, the breakdown is going to be the majority of the project is going to hit our water and sewer fund. Presently, our fund balance for water and sewer, if you look at the very last page, you can go to end fund balance and go across to the year-to-date balance. We've got, right now, $3,669,534.33. So if you go back and look at the beginning of the pages, you can see that we have both our major street and our local street. The portions for when we get to the pavement is going to be coming out of the local street fund. And for that, on the right page here, we've got an end fund balance at this time of $363,227.53. Rough quotes, very rough right now, because I don't want to give out too much bidding information, but it's going to be perfectly fine to cover the local street portion.
Did this put any other projects you had in mind on a back burner because of the size of this one?
As far as what?
Funding.
Oh, funding? We
This
didn't
one
have-
jumped the bucket in front of something else potentially. You know, comes up.
Yeah, this is one that just has to be fixed, so it
Right.
doesn't matter if it jumps or not, it's gotta be fixed.
Right.
So,
Okay. Yeah.
Yeah, we don't have much of a choice.
Yeah.
Okay. Comments, questions?
I'm gonna just backtrack a little bit. I know Patrick wasn't here. What size water line is in there now? 4-inch? The original quotes are 4. Why did we decide to go with 8?
it betters your fire, ISO rating in the long run for your fire hydrants and for your fire coverage, basically. We would like to change to, that's what they're going to across the board, is an 8-inch main. It's just better all the way around.
That's what supplies suppression systems,
Yes.
right?
Yeah.
Okay, that makes
I'm assuming
sense.
that's what we're going to put in when we do the project in 2022,
I believe
23?
that's what's quoted. We're gonna meet
Yeah.
with Mike Swartz at some point.
Yeah, we're gonna get the full project scope confirmed from him, but as of right now, it's talking with Scott Dessenberg from the Water Department, yes, this is so that it will match the surrounding main, but also intentions for our projects in the
Planning
future,
for the future.
including 23,
Right.
correct.
Okay.
Yeah.
Are there any other upgrades that we'll be doing in 23 that should have been applied to this, or did apply to it? The 24-inch sewer, is that the same that's gonna go in? Am I right on that?
I would
24 inch?
imagine that
Yeah.
they're not gonna put a smaller pipe in. I don't have the specifics on the project yet. Heather and I talked last week, we gotta get a meeting with Mike Swartz so that her and I can get on the same page and see what's going on. We gotta know what's going on in 23, but I don't imagine that they're downsizing the pipe.
I wouldn't think so either. I didn't
No.
know, maybe they're going 36-inch.
I don't know why they would. It is 36, I do believe, here in this intersection, but you have everything coming into the intersection and going out from here. So that's carrying the load that is bringing fine, if you will. So the only problem that we've ever had there is this problem. And we knew that this pipe was bad when we did our study, when we got our money for our Vector truck. Whenever our saw grant for all that, when we cleaned all the sewers, and that's when we got our camera truck and our Vector truck. So we knew that pipe was rough then. So.
I just hope it doesn't happen somewhere else before 2022, 23.
Yeah.
Anybody else have any more questions? Or comments, or anybody want to make a motion to approve one of these? No?
He's just being honest with you, I suppose.
I guess the only thing that comes to mind now, looking at the difference in the manhole, this is to Mac, I guess. Potentially, if you ran into a problem, could the cost of yours go up contingent on these manholes being not what you were envisioning?
For the scope that I have in there, it would be essentially setting a new manhole in a different location along 3rd Street, so there shouldn't, if there was a change in cost, it would have to be because a totally unforeseen circumstance came up with it. It wouldn't be replacing the manhole out there in Redbud itself. It would be essentially just setting a new manhole on the line, and then, that's where our new pipe would start and terminate. So I don't see there being an issue with that approach for that price. If it was to replace the manhole out in Redbud, then it would be a different cost, closer to what Selge had submitted. And I could price that if it was, requested. It's just that's what I didn't necessarily know that was the plans. And then I know that schedule was asked earlier as far as when we would get started. It was essentially the holdup would be material, getting it in, as far as the manholes, precast manholes delivered, pipe delivered. Last I knew, Ferguson said that they had the material in stock. And so then, whoever gets the job would just have to get a hold of them, right away and make sure that they still have the stock in their yards. If not, then it could delay the project, but we would know as soon as we were able to check in. There's that, and then working with Eagle themselves for the upsizing of the water main. I gave a talk to the local representative. He said that he could get his review done in 2 weeks. Heather gave him a call as well and just kind of explained the situation of what we have here and kind of the emergency circumstances. And so then that was hugely helpful, because typically if I was just designing a project and submitted it to them, then you could guarantee 3 months for review. So he said that he could work with us and probably get that down to closer to 2 weeks.
Well, until you get to the manhole on the Selge quote, everything's pretty even. And those are as needed. What's the likelihood that we're gonna have to replace 1, 2, 3, all of them?
I mean, I would say that the likelihood would be, once you get a better look at it.
Yeah.
I mean, the manhole at Short Street that's 16 feet deep is a brick manhole. That doesn't mean it's bad. It just means it's brick and it's old.
Yeah.
We've torn many brick manholes out. Take a giant excavator, can't smash it. So, I mean, once we get a better look at it, we determine if we have to change it. And that's something we can decide in the field.
Any other questions?
I was asked to share, Commissioner Money called before the meeting to indicate he was not able to attend, and he wanted me to share with the group that he feels that he wanted Selge to be approved, and I did tell him I would convey that to the group before the vote.
I appreciate that. Sorry, excuse me. I appreciate that. Anybody else want to make a motion or make a recommendation? If not, I don't mind. And I will, because you guys are good crickets tonight.
I think we're all struggling with the same decision that you are.
I mean, well, I think Cameron, stated the obvious. Really, the numbers aren't that different until you get to the manholes. And I don't mean any disrespect at all, Mac. But when I look at it, it seems like somebody knows more about what's needed to set these manholes in place. And I mean, for what it's worth, I think Selge has a solid reputation of doing this kind of work. I think they are on top of what it would take to do it correctly, and I would feel most comfortable having them do it and do it right. So my recommendation would also be to use Selge. Anybody? Bueller?
Well, for the sake of speeding this along, I will make a motion that we approve Selge Construction to repair 3rd Street.
Thank you. Is there support? I'll support. Can we have roll call, please?
Dennison,
Yes.
Downing,
Yes.
Swem,
Yes.
Whedon,
Yes.
motion carries.
Thank you.
Thanks, Mac.
Okay, is there any public comment?
Should we set a precedent today, and are we gonna continue with this? It's a lot of extra work.
What?
Zoom.
So I'll just, since you're the only public here making comments, I'll respond like this. We are working on trying to make our meetings be Zoom compatible in September, hopefully. We're adding microphones and doing some other things, but the IT, we're waiting for people who are on vacation and all that sort of thing. So, but we're hoping by September, we will be able to have Zoom meetings like this.
I think it's a good thing, I just didn't wanna, it can't be selective now, you know?
No, right, I mean, we are trying to get there,
It
and,
can't be selective.
yeah.
Thank you.
Okay, any other public comments? If not, I'll take a motion to adjourn.
I'll motion to adjourn.
Thank
I'll
you. Is there support?
I'll support.
I'd like to ask a question.
Oh,
Thank you, Mac.
He said his
Hear me?
question.
Oh, yeah, go ahead.
What were the bids done? You know, typically what we're used to, I'm sure that, is Scott, who's there?
Yeah, he's back there.
Yeah, typically it's a open meeting where they're read aloud, so curious what the actual bids came out
So,
to.
sure, and I don't mind. So you were, your numbers for most of the work were only $20,000 apart, which isn't, in my estimation, very much for this scope of work. But when we got down to the manholes, your manhole was $6,000 and theirs was $43,000.
Yeah. That's because it's a completely different scope of work. It's not apples to apples for what was being proposed.
I mean, I don't know how else to explain what was proposed and what was needed to be
I'm
done.
not trying to go back on what was voted on. You know, Selge has the project, and that's good. It's just, this is why, when things are bid out, it's made in a way that it's apples to apples, so that you don't have a manhole number that's $30,000 apart.
Well, was there a scope of work that was given to both of them, or no?
No, I was given.
Because this was
something that
emergency
said
bidding, it was not
manholes.
formal bidding, and he was given the layout, the exact layout for all the specs, the exact same way.
Okay.
And both had the
Did
opportunity
you-
to talk with Mike and view the
But
site.
not detailed out.
No, because we don't have an engineer to do that. I don't personally know how to do that. I can't
Right.
spoke about that kind of work myself.
Did you hear her, Mac?
Yes.
I mean, I apologize, I don't know what else to say other than, we were under the thought that everyone was given the same math problem, if you will, and
They will.
so, I apologize.
It's certainly nothing to apologize for. It's just that's the, kind of the reasoning behind it when a set of plans and a set of specifications set out to ensure that the construction methods are the same way, because,
Sure.
my pricing definitely had nothing to do with going into Redwood and replacing the existing manhole. And, but, yeah, that was all my question was just about what the base bid was. It was $20,000 apart. And then, the additional manhole section there was,
It was considerable. The manhole section was considerable.
yeah, it was a completely different scope of work proposed, so.
Well,
Appreciate it.
We appreciate it. Thanks, Mac. Okay, thank you.
I don't know that I can hear Heather in her microphone.
Yeah.
It sounded like it's not working.
Your microphone? Yeah, it's not very strong.
Did you just get new equipment?
Well, I think it's working